Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be back with you. And right now, we have a person, an expert with a very unusual combination, a scientist who's also interested in community building. We have with us Dr. Vijaya Brahma. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Subodh Mathur. And it's a pleasure to be here. And it's indeed a revolution that you're doing by making a youth speak, giving them space to speak. A voice for all is indeed a wonderful. I was very excited when I got this invitation to speak. And I just shared it with everyone that I'm going to talk about my story. And
Yeah.
what an amazing platform this is to come forward and talk about it. So I initiate this with my journey, academic journey, back in early 2000s when, like every science aspirant, the only combination that anyone thinks of when you have taken biology is go for medical entrance exams. Coming from a family where both my parents were doctors, it was like an obvious choice that you don't have any other option. And back in those days, there were like only 2 or 3 options, either doctor or engineer or a failure. Only 3 options. So you
I
don't have
qualify
any
for
option.
failure.
So what happened was that there was a lot of peer pressure that what are the preparations going on, when medical exams are coming. But I was not very inclined to do medicine. It was the blood, the cutting, the whatever it was not intriguing me as a profession. But I was also unsure that what I really want to do. So on the road, while commuting to the one of those medical entrance exam preparation space, I meet one friend and I just ask her, imagine if you do not qualify. And she was quite offended. She was like, why are you asking like that? I said, just imagine, what are the plan Bs you have?
Mhm.
And then she said that there is a very interesting subject called microbiology. I said, really? What exactly is that? And studying the microorganisms. I said, oh, sounds interesting. It's like close to medicine, but not exactly medicine because you're not a doctor, like a medical doctor, but you're still close to that. That interested me. And when Delhi University's admission forms came out, this was the first course that I filled up, which was microbiology. And maybe the stars were right or it was meant to be. I got the admission in one of the premier girls' college in Delhi University, Gargi College. And it's a fantastic college, great environment. And I think that the most important years of personal development one can have is in Delhi University. Coming from there, there was a lot of exposure to the knowledge and understanding the nitty-gritties with the best faculties. It was a wonderful environment to move forward with. Following the bandwagon again, it was like once your BSc is over, you graduate, what is the next step? And then I asked again, and everybody was filling up this MSc admission forms all over. They were like, okay, this exam is coming, this exam is coming. So, okay, I'll also fill it up. And then sneakily, I also filled up one form of MA psychology because I was always interested in knowing about humans and what humans think, and especially a child psychology, because what forms a child's mind to turn them into different individuals, what frames them, why is one child suddenly becoming a criminal to one child becoming a minister or something like that. So what are the life changes that happen at early stages? And I was quite intrigued. But when I talked through that idea to everyone who are elder to me, they said that nahi, ye to paglo ka doctor hota hai. So this is not a field to pursue. And I was like, no, I think I'll excel on it. They were like, no, 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 no. You follow the trail which you have picked up and go on the track. Don't deviate. All right. And then Lady Luck was with me, and probably a bit of hard work and everything. I got to one of the institutes which is called MS University Baroda.
Yes.
Baroda is premier. And in fact, we have one of the Nobel laureates from MS University Baroda, Venki, who has a great contribution in biochemistry. So this 2 years in Gujarat was another learning for me, with understanding the ropes of leveling up microbiology with biotechnology. The boom, it was biotech boom around that time, because how can you harness the microbial technology to better human life or industrial revolutions and things like those. So we learned a lot of things. It was quite a grilling experience, because when you because the environment was such that it gives you presentation skills. You are honing yourself to become a future scientist. So it was a great environment, great platform to learn. I always had inclination for computers though. And how can biologists do computers was something which was always puzzling me. And I always wanted to know that how can you do that? And then comes this revolution known as bioinformatics, which is, it was around that time when human genome sequences were happening, a lot of sequencing technologies was happening, and there was big data. And we needed computers to solve these problems. And I said that I'm going to do that. So after finishing my master's, there was this 1 year program which was specially designed, which was called Advanced Postgraduate Diploma in Bioinformatics at JNU, very new. And it had a wonderful combination of students, where they had taken 2 biology students, 2 mathematics students, 2 physicists, 2 chemists, 2 med students, 2 computer engineers, and we all are sitting in one classroom learning bioinformatics. So this was a great experience, because we are learning from chemists, the chemistry part, we are learning from physicists, the physics part. We have faculties from Princeton coming down here teaching us. So it was a great learning exposure, where a new technology was coming our way. We were still exploring, the technology was just new, but we understood that what computer can do to biological data. An amazing experience, which led me to a teaching experience in Jalandhar. From there, I reached Jalandhar, where it was a girls' college. Punjabi girls, very strong and very determined. And I had to teach them bioinformatics. And I realized that I love teaching. When I speak, I just go on and on and on. The joy of speaking the subject you love was immeasurable.
Mm.
But there was this junoon, and it was, I have to do PhD. Yeah. Now I have to do PhD. And once it hits you, the bug of science hits you, that karna hai, then nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. So after a few months of teaching, I started applying for PhD opportunities. And I got one of the fellowships, which allows you to avail the fellowship in one of the premier institutes, but you have to qualify the interview. Yeah. That means that even though I have the fellowship letter, I have to go across India, everywhere, wherever there's a PhD opportunity, give my interview, show my skills, and if they're willing, they can hire me. Yeah. So I just took one bag and just moved on. I said to my dad, Dad, I just booked me the tickets, give me enough money in the ATM. I want to go for PhD interviews. And then started this all, what do we say, bandwagon of people who had one bag and just going to Bangalore, ISC Bangalore. And there is this Hyderabad Center for DNA fingerprinting, CCMBs, and all premier institutes, in sometimes going by flight, sometimes going by train, sometimes going by bus. But you know, the whole journey of failure, the whole journey of anticipation, the whole journey of solo travel, that also teaches you a lot. And that exposure was amazing. Even though I qualified none of those places, and finally I came to Chandigarh, where finally they took me. But those failures were learning lessons for me, that what I'm lacking, what I have to prepare more, what I have to do further, because I have to do PhD. That was the only bhoot in my head. I have to do PhD. And there's the sixth sense that when you reach a place and you say that I belong here. That's what happened when I landed to IMTech Chandigarh. It's an institute which is totally called Institute of Microbial Technology, Microbiology, Technology. That's where I belonged. And when I qualified the interview, this is where I was for next 6 to 7 years. So that was the years when I was so lucky to have a laboratory which was working on the next generation sequencing technology, which was sequencing anything, because bacteria is anywhere. I compare it as invisible, invincible organisms, microorganisms.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, outer space, everywhere. They're so amazing. They have so much capacity,
Yeah.
and we can't even see them. So
They're
they are
so
friends.
tiny. They're so tiny, and yet they can put us down so easily.
Close the entire globe. That's what COVID did.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah. That's it.
The world.
Yeah.
They literally stopped the world.
Yeah.
So that's the power of science.
Yeah.
So that's when we started studying uncultured microorganisms through sequencing. So my research was taking soil samples from across India, sequencing them, and finding out what special is this lump of soil compared to that lump of soil. This had an application of finding hidden gems of enzymes, which have a enzymatic potential, industrial potential. And we were lucky to find a very, very powerful enzyme, which we have even US patented now.
Okay.
So that was a great contribution. But more than that, it was also about the technology which can help in balancing the pH of a soil, the soil which has a very low fertility. We can maybe transplant a soil and make it more fertile. There was a lot of possibilities. And while I was doing all this research, there was one big international conference which was held in our department. And because it was a new technology, we had very less guidance, because when something which happens with new technology, everything you are just learning by making mistakes. And then it's your PhD. You have to write a thesis on it. So it's a different level of pressure also, because there has to be substantial results coming out. So when this international conference happened, I was the one who was reaching out to any professor without any inhibition. I just wanted to know how to solve this problem.
Right.
And while I was doing that, I met this wonderful guy called David Cutman, who works in University of Toronto. And he said that when you finish your PhD, join my lab for postdoc. And that was the next step when I packed my bag after finishing my PhD, submitting my work, and I went to the new world, the international world of, for the first time, I stepped out. Even though during my PhD tenure also, that's what academics gives you, that exposure. You have gone to a lot of poster presentations, international seminars to talk about your work. I've been to Dublin, Ireland, Germany, Singapore, Greece, a lot of places. And these give you the more confidence about your work. So eventually, when I reached University of Toronto, it was a totally new system. It was about a very chronic disease, which is called cystic fibrosis.
Mm-hmm.
Cystic fibrosis is a lung disorder, which is genetic.
Yeah.
And it's extreme coughing. There's a lot of bacteria which is resident in your lungs. And the only way out is giving antibiotics. But bacteria are so smart, they level it with antimicrobial resistant strains. So the more antibiotics are given, the more antibiotic resistant strains are there in the lungs. But that's the only way out for survival. So I had this data of like 100 patients with their longitudinal lifeline of at what time they had had which antibiotic, and then what was the lifespan.
Yeah.
Like big. And this gave me this opportunity to actually see data from data analytics point of view. And then realize that there's so much mathematics, there's so much statistics that can also be done to data, being a biological data. And that was something I was lacking at that point, because biologists are not great mathematicians. At least I believe that. But that is something which gave me this realization that mathematics is quintessential. You cannot run away from maths.
No.
You can say biomathematics, biostatistics, and these are the lifelines. They will give you the real analysis if done correctly.
Yeah.
So compiling and doing everything, finishing my commitment and everything. Of course, being a woman, there was this biological clock ticking. So in between my PhD, I got married. Between postdoc, I had my first baby. So those things were also happening. along the lines while I was doing my PhD. And then once my baby was back, I finished my commitments and I had to go back to my husband, because obviously a child has to raise with both the partners. So we came back to India. But then I joined another postdoctoral fellowship, which was about a very, very hot chili, which is found in India, which is called Bhut Jolokia.
Yeah.
Which is found in northeast of India. I belong to northeast of India. So my husband is also a scientist, plant geneticist. So he wrote this project of finding out what exactly makes a chili chili.
Yeah.
So what is the potency genes which are involved in it?
Yeah.
A very interesting problem. And this also can be solved through sequencing. We sequence entire genes and find out what are the genes which are there, what are upregulated, downregulated, what are the pathways. And that's where the bioinformatics comes into play.
Yeah.
And that's where I got involved and wrote a few papers with collaboration, finding out that what are so different areas that I had touched were from starting from soil to human to plants. And then came the point when COVID happened. That's where everybody was at that point of realizing that what we are doing, our life is very limited, and are doing what we need to do in our lives. Along the lines, I want to add here that my first son, who was born abroad, had a very chronic disease developed when we landed in India, which now it's scientifically proven that there's something called hygiene hypothesis, which means that when you raise a child in a very extremely hygienic condition, too much sanitization and too much cleaning, which is not required, the children will have more immunity, more sturdiness when they are exposed to soil, they're more exposed to dirt. That is important. And it's proven that science has proven that too much cleanliness, too much sterility can affect your good bacteria, which are supposed to be in your gut, in your body, which are the protectors of your body. So when we came back to India, those bacteria were not established in the gut of my child. And he had an extreme form of eczema. If you heard of it, it's a skin rash condition.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's extremely difficult for the child. So I had to step back and take care of my child at that point of time, because I, as a mother, I, as a parent, as a caregiver, has a responsibility of my child's well-being along with pursuing science. But coming from a microbiological background, understanding the science behind it, it was more important for me to understand that what bacterial population can be re-established in my child to improve his condition. So along came a different opportunity when I stepped back. There was this entrepreneur who was doing MBA from University of Toronto, a friend, a close friend, also an academician, who had a startup called Atolo. Atolo was talking stickers. In those times, QR codes was something really new.
Yeah.
And what he had to do was that QR codes can be scanned, but while you scan, it reads to you books. So every book had a QR code, and a child can scan it through and read. So this intervention, we wanted to do it in the government schools, in the poorest slums of India. And that is where I said that this is what excites me. It's an impact, something I would love to do. So we went ahead, we ordered a lot of tablets, and then we said, at one point I asked my friend that if you are giving tablets to the people in slums, would that be safe? He said that they are the ones who will value it the most. And that was the fact. Because the modern kids, the one who are in luxury, for them the tablet is just another tool for recreation. But for them, having a tablet was a valued possession.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they valued it, they studied it. I had to go to each house in the slum, sit with them, study with them, see that how they are doing. And while the teaching was happening, even mothers were getting educated, even fathers were getting educated. And it was the real impact that I saw. There were factory workers who were working in the factories, and their daughters were sitting and scanning and learning and reading and writing.
Yeah.
And that glow in their eyes that they have that power to learn was beyond. And then I thought that this is the thing that is I want to pursue. I want to go to the ground level, at the grassroots level, and see the impact.
Okay.
And that's where I worked with the children of a pre-primary level. We had a lot of studies from Steinhardt, New York University, who came to do the intervention studies to see the impact. There were a lot of impact studies happening. So it was a very nice project from Grand Challenges Canada. I had to go there to present the work as well. So I got this entrepreneurial opportunity to talk about the work as well at that platform as well. And thank you to the CEO of Atolo who gave me that opportunity. So once that project ended, I involved myself with another NGO, which I'm sure you're also aware of it, which was Freedom Employability Academy, which is a youth empowerment NGO, which works with the youth. Now the youth has a different problem, and if I connect back the dots, there was some point I wanted to do psychology because I wanted to see the impact children have and how they can form the future by right interventions. And here I was getting opportunity. It was like connecting, the stars were listening to what I wanted. So, and then I was working as a mentor coordinator, which gave me this opportunity to expand my social presence and diversity on LinkedIn, finding different mentors and bringing them to the platform to mentor the students. This gave me a lot of opportunity to talk to different people, build my social skills as well, to understand where they are coming from, talking about our problems of we need mentors and how mentoring is important. And eventually we were able to get many, many mentors who have impacted many youths, because all the mentors need is how to reach and come out of that poverty cycle. And that's what mentors can do just by talking to them, just by listening to them. And that's what they were doing. And we have seen a lot of impact coming from there as well.
Okay, let me add here at this point that I have also been a mentor in FEA, and I am currently not doing those sessions, those video sessions, because I'm doing Vidpeds, but I'm using these Vidpeds to find young people and senior people who want to become mentors. Awesome. And my close friend Amit Shah, who was my class batchmate in Delhi in those days, he also lives in the US. He's still doing those sessions. So what we do is that we break the FEA norm and we have guests in our sessions. So these people can get to see what it is like to be in FEA, to see what the young people are like, and to see how the mentoring session is run. And the idea is that some of them will remain guests, some of them will become mentors on their own. And I've also managed to get younger people from colleges in Delhi to join Amit's sessions. And they're, once they've got out of college and all, some of them still show up. And one point that you won't know because you are not a 72-year-old man is that Amit and I realized long ago that we don't connect at the gut level to those young women because they're too old and too far out from their socioeconomic background. So we don't connect at the gut level. We connect at the technical level, but not at the gut level. They are all suffering from some extent of patriarchy, and we don't connect. So we decided right there that we will have women as our guests. And so we always have, that's why I want college girls, I want experienced women to be in our mentor videos with us so that they can answer, and they don't have to just answer, they can even ask the girls questions, which we would be afraid to ask. Because it'd be culturally a problem. They would feel intimidated by us. These 72-year-old guys sitting in USA, they're intimidated. But if a younger woman talks to them pleasantly, they're not intimidated. They can even be willing to answer. So I'm a very, very active promoter of FEA. And even my wife did a few sessions during the pandemic times. So I'm so glad to know from you that you are also a mentor, and uh, we can talk about that offline, but please continue.
Yeah, so I was a mentor coordinator. I was
I know,
working for a
I understand the difference. I know FEA very well. Right.
was an exciting time, but yeah, connecting to the youth, and I understand the kind of space they come from. It is understanding them would take them time, opening up, and sometimes those sessions are also not sufficient.
No,
Considering mentor is to student ratio also, because every student has different story to share.
yeah,
Every have has a different struggle, so it's not even 1:1 mentoring where you can
no,
like fully engage. So it gets very like a mentoring, but at a outer level. But one has to dig deeper if somebody wants to pursue further.
right.
But I think that it still solves the purpose of having that exposure of learning from somebody who has achieved something in life and giving that their hope that they are equally capable of doing that.
Okay, so let's
So
continue
yeah.
with your journey.
Yeah, so then as coming from a science background, I also had this inkling that I'm contributing, but what about the science part, the skill that I have, the scientific background that I have? Then there was this NGO called Vigyan Shala, which I think recently you had Vaishali Anishila,
Yeah,
Anishila Chatterjee, who was
yes,
here. So she was also one of the FEA mentors, if I
right,
may remember
right, right.
correctly. So the girls who are dropping out of science, the leaky pipeline, I think economics talk about it, leaky
Yeah,
pipeline, the
yeah,
unconscious bias that happens
yeah.
in employment stage, the job recruitment stage, grants. And I'll give you one fact that of all the Nobel laureates till date, 894 Nobel laureates, guess how many are female? Only 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a big gender skew which is happening. And then we need more girls in science. We need to promote more girls in science. And in India, there is a problem when somebody wants to do higher education. Itna padh ke kya karegi?
Yes.
That kind of thing still exist. Shadi kaun karega? So those kind of problems exist, and they would somebody who would want to do science, somebody whose skill and superpower is science, may not pursue that much. And then there is this thing called motherhood penalty, which occurs again because a woman has to go through this 9 months gap of maternity, which in the race of academics, you are behind the race for 9 months, and 9 months are good enough time for your peers to progress. So there are a lot of these kind of things which still exist in academia, but then the government also has a lot of schemes which are women centric now, which are only and only designed for women to have some provisions so that they can progress and have equal competition with their peers. So those information, those kind of things, and pushing the women to science was something which was a need of the hour post pandemic. And then I was taken under the wings of this wonderful professor known as Dr. Pratibha. And then she taught me about the data around it. We worked around the data. We learned about the policies. What are the policies? What are the international policies which are there in international platform? How can we incorporate it to the Indian world? How many women vice chancellors of women of leadership are there? And what are the policies that should be there? So
Mm,
there's a lot of learning that happened at that stage as well
mm,
while we were doing. And being a woman from academic background, it really mattered to me. And of course, the NGO which worked on pushing girls to do more science was equally contributing in getting the understanding there. So I was very shortly mentoring the girls through Vigyan Shala, but then I got involved with the Gati project, which was more about the data analytical part, reading, learning about the policies, learning about
mm,
the different ways that
mm.
women in academia can be improved, the conditions can be improved. But then when you put a policy out, the final onus is at the higher level, which a lot of government are doing good work on that as well.
Okay.
So once that project also ended, and my son's health was also at the stage where it was quite deteriorating with extreme, there came a point in Delhi where the pollution level was extremely toxic. We were literally breathing toxins. And for a person who with a sensitive skin, children were having asthma and all kind of things. And for people with eczema, they were having the skin rashes and severe condition, which were quite difficult for a mother. And then I realized that probably something is missing. It's not just the gut bacteria, but what conditions are we providing?
Yeah.
And the answer was the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
We all youth throughout, I'm telling about my generation of 30s and 40s, we know how to celebrate by eating and drinking and everything. But there is no space for exercises, working out, having those kind of mindset, growth mindset. Because once you get into the job, you get into that EMI cycle, loans and things like those, stress eating, sedentary lifestyle, because everyone is working from home right now. Let's be honest. Everyone is working from home from my generation. This was not the case at earlier times when for 30s and 40s year olds were hustling, they were walking, they were going to work, they were coming back. There was a lot of physical activity happening. But now it's not happening. We all are sitting at home. Everything comes to our houses. 5-minute order, entire groceries at our houses.
Correct.
We don't have to go for groceries. We don't have to even go to a restaurant. The food comes to our doorstep.
Right.
No movement. And a lot of friends of my generation, 2 or 3, I know them, have cases of heart attack at young ages.
Yeah.
So this is something very concerning and serious. So then I came across a poster which said that, do you want to wake up at 5 a.m.? I said, why not? 5 a.m. is something which everybody should wake up. In Indian culture, it is something which we all learn about. 5 a.m. club. What do they do at 5 a.m. club? I was quite intrigued. But more than that, bringing a healthy practice to my life. Because if I don't take care of myself, I cannot take care of my family. So let me start with myself. So we had this community, which was known as Ubuntuverse, where we wake up at 5 a.m. We do the 3 M's: movement, meditation, and one mastering. One mastering is one skill which you will develop, which will help you grow in life. So I had come across a fantastic community where everyone had growth mindset. Everybody was, take that for granted. Anyone who is willing to wake up at 5 a.m. has a growth mindset, otherwise he's sleeping in bed. So whoever was there, I was so much aligned with this bunch of people because they were talking about healthy lifestyle, they were talking about veganism, they were talking about how to stay healthy, how to take care of their health, what about, and not only one dimension, just physical health. We are talking about 8 dimensions of wellness, which is an established study of Stanford. We're talking about physical, emotional, social, occupational, financial, and uh, and intellectual for that matter. So every aspect of wellness we have to work on. We were talking about blue zones. Blue zones is about having healthy lifestyle. There are some places in US, in Europe, and in Japan where people are centenarians. Why are they centenarians? What are the lifestyles they follow? And this is what we want to follow. I aligned so well with this. I said that this is what is going to change the game. This is what the youth needs right now. And that's where this community was built, which is Ubuntuverse. I was fortunate because Abhinav, the person with whom I connected with for 5 a.m. Club, was a mentor at FEA. It's like connecting dots from the past, and that's how you meet people. And then we have more people like Hema, Ankit, Meghna, and a lot of people who had coming from different areas, bringing their expertise, but everyone was connected with one thread that they want to grow. They want to have a healthy lifestyle, and they want to bring that impact to entire world. So far we have done many 5 a.m. clubs. I think this is the 17th batch we are running. We have a lot of meetups, social meetups, and we have spread across Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Rishikesh, Jaipur, Mumbai, Bangalore, Goa, Phuket. So it's a movement now where people are coming together. We are meeting, we are having a healthy lifestyle, we are having vegan food, we are talking about sustainability, zero waste, eco-friendly lifestyle. And minimalism, for that matter, that hoarding mentality, we have to get rid of that. So we're talking about minimalism. We are talking about simplicity. To that extent that now we recently sold a car and we don't have a car. We drive cycle and we are okay with that.
Yeah.
Having simplistic lifestyle and having prioritizing what is important, where the money should be going.
Yeah.
We had classes about financial literacy, which is nobody talks about. Academicians, especially the scientists, who are never taught financial literacy, which is the basic thing: how to invest, how to work with money, how can you make money work for you, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
These kind of things our community started building, and now we are in a space where we are in the process of registering, building a community, growing further. It's all about kindness, and we have recently even uh, produced a movie with one of the international collaborators, which is called Cryspiracy, which is about how we should have more plant-based lifestyle, because that's where it's the way forward. And we have different communities coming, and recently we have this community about compassion, practicing compassion every day, consciously practicing compassion, because it's, we take it for granted that we are serving somebody or helping them, but we as a youth have a capacity to be compassionate every day. Well, we as a community can move mountains. Otherwise, I can think that tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Probably I'll wake up for 1 week, but after that, I'm not going to do that. It's the community, power of community, that can make you do that. I have turned into a vegan, a raw vegan with healthy lifestyle because of the community, power of community. And I can visible changes. People say that there is research of reverse aging, aging on plant-based diet. So those kind of things have started working. And it's like once you are a seed, more and more people join. So more like-minded started joining it. That's how, that's where I am right now with Ubuntuverse, a beautiful universe of people who are planning to make a world a better place.
Wow,
and
it's a very good
more
journey. I'm so glad that you have been so honest and open and transparent, and you have told it to us as it is. And it's headed in the direction, I think, that perhaps others can also follow. Maybe not in every element, but in many elements and all. Anything else you want to add here?
I think that what I would want to say is, when I was starting my journey early 2000, when I was doing microbiology, I never thought that how the life is going to take a course. It's that you don't have to give up, or you have to have that drive to not give up. You have to have your passion in right place, your heart in the right place. I always wanted to serve the community, and I was always clear that I want to do that. And that here I am building a community of people, and the joy that I get of waking up without fail 4:30 every morning, no matter how late I have slept, that is pushing me. That is the passion, and that is your true profession, the one that pushes you. If your profession is making you feel that why do I have to go again to the work, if you're having Monday blues, then probably you have to look for what brings you joy. There was this quote by Alan Watts, which asked that what if money was not a thing? What profession would you pursue? Because half of our professional choices are driven by this has more money, this will give me more money. But what if money was not a thing? Then probably there will be more painters, there will be more writers, there will be more people who would do what they enjoy. And sometimes a workplace is more toxic because there are people filled who are not happy with what they want to do. It's a joy. When people are happy and people have joy, then the environment gets very, very positive. And I invite you to come and join Ubuntuverse and see the positivity, the spark of positivity at 5 a.m. It's immeasurable.
Okay. All right. That's great to hear. I think I have the next person in 2 minutes, so let's end it here. And
Sure.
I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.